Sponsored by Zentavos. Keep more of your money.
Welcome back to Ask Sloan, everybody. I'm Sloan.
I'm Ben.
Today we're talking about overcoming desire.
Yeah, this is a really important topic because I think everybody faces desires in their life, and it's important to make sure that you're not letting desire take root and become addiction and take over your life. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So
I'm excited.
yeah, tell me about when you've had to overcome addiction in your life. Um, so I think this is a really important topic, not only for uh, men, but also for women and others, right? Just in general, I think it's important for people to um, capture the desire in their life and um, make it a slave to them as opposed to being a slave to their desires, right? So, really just understanding what in your life is controlling you and how you can overcome that and the importance of overcoming it. I had a conversation with one of my really close friends regarding the importance of overcoming lust, for example, and how that can cascade and cause a ripple effect in your life in ways that might not be um, conducive to living a good life, not just a godly life, but a good life in general. So I wanted to get your perspective on what it looks like to overcome desire and how you can pinpoint the things in your life that you need to overcome.
Well, I think that there's a lot of definitions in there in what you just said that really each of us need to come to terms with. And I think something that you said is very profound and very important to like hone in on, right? Identifying the things that control me, okay? Or the things that I have a lack of control over, right? Um, and so we've talked about before the hierarchy of the spirit, beliefs, values, attitudes, thoughts, feelings, actions. Um, the answer to the question is simple: taking control over what you have control over, which is your beliefs, your values, your attitudes, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Your actions at some point become a result of the latter, right? So, Scripture says, capture every thought. Don't allow your thoughts to wander,
Mm.
right? I think that's super important. I think each of us has our own vices, our own demons, our own weaknesses, our own insecurities, our own whatevers. And they can be identified in many different ways. And we really need to come to terms with that and place boundaries in our life so that we aren't subjected to that slavery, for lack of a better term, right? And the first step in that is to identify that I can be enslaved. You I could not stop using drugs several times in my life as a young adult, as a teenager. Um, I was 16 years old when I my parents called me, asked me to come downstairs, and said, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you sleeping in class?" Like what? Like they were concerned. They weren't mad. They were just like, "Hey, what's going on?" And man, I broke down, started bawling, and told my parents I'm addicted to cocaine. I'm 16 years old,
Wow.
but I recognized at that point that I couldn't stop without help, and I had already gotten to a bottom where I wanted to stop. Now, that wasn't the last time, I went sober for a year and a half, and then life got hard again. I had to deal with it again. Um, but recognizing that you are powerless to something is is the very first step. Wanting to not be a slave to that thing anymore is super important. Some people don't. I met plenty of people that absolutely have succumbed to whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? Like they're an alcoholic. They're an alcoholic. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it a joke?
Well, people say it as a joke, but
I
it's
mean, but
definitely
you
not a
but you
joke.
feel what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Like it's a
hundred
joke.
percent.
Oh yeah, Tom, bro, whatever, It's
Yeah.
like this thing, But is it a joke? Is it like, do we care about Tom?
Yeah, it's funny until it's not.
I mean, like, yeah, Tom's gonna die of liver disease one day. That's so funny. Not really.
Yeah.
And
It.
then we all know because we love Tom that like he's a drunk because he's not okay in here,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that's the same thing with lust and with greed. There's different things about each one of those different situations, but the path to peace and prosperity is, in my opinion, very similar, if not the same.
Interesting. So, one of the things that you mentioned was, obviously, uh, being in addiction in this cycle of addiction from a very young age. I think it's really interesting because it's almost like the world that we live in, or just like, I guess, the Western world, makes it more difficult to circumvent addiction. It's almost like there are seeds of addiction placed in your life, right, in different areas, and I've seen it across like different people in my life, including myself, right, where these seeds are planted, and little by little they're watered until they grow, and eventually they take root in your very being, and it's hard to kind of uproot those things and you know remove them from your life. Uh, and so I'm wondering, when it came time for you to actually need to uproot that, because like you said, you realize like, oh well, I kind of can't stop doing this, right? They say that sin feels like freedom until you try to become free from sin, and now you're a slave. Um, and so, what was that like? Trying to overcome that.
Well, I don't know. I suppose it was different each time.
Okay. What
Um,
about the first time?
the first time it wasn't incredibly difficult. I'll be honest with you. I told my parents that I was addicted to cocaine and I wanted to stop and I needed help. And I quit my job and changed people, places, and things. And I started going to this group that was kind of like AA for teenagers. And um, I stopped, and I wanted to, like I really wanted to, but it. I mean, that's the thing. Like you have like that, in my opinion, first step. You have to really want a different life. Like it's about identity, right? Who am I? What do I want to be when I grow up? Right. One of the most important questions my dad asked me. I was 19 years old. This was later, right?
Yeah.
During another period of my life when I was using too many drugs, being stupid. And the issue was I was lost. I had no idea who I was or who I wanted to be or how any of that worked. I didn't understand life, you know? Um, Sometimes that's different. Sometimes it's PTSD. Like I've come back from war. I don't understand the community I live in. I don't know what I want to do anymore because of the atrocities I've seen. Just the abuse that I've dealt with. I do this to escape the abuse and the trauma that I haven't healed from. Like there's so many different stories, right, about how you got there. The question is who are you, and are you ready to be you? And I didn't know who I was. And it wasn't until I figured out who I was that I was able to then take steps to become that person. And, I think it's a misnomer that we say, like, go out and find yourself. You don't have to find yourself. You're right here, right? Really go inside and learn who you are. And you are not the the sinful desires of your heart. You are the passions of your life, right? Like if you're an artist, that's not hard to see, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're an analyst, that's not hard to figure out. You know what I mean? Like you are who you want to be, basically, right?
Yeah.
You are who you want to be. Who do you want to be? And then being realistic with yourself. Am I the next Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
just I'm I don't play basketball. I used to tell people I don't play the tuba. So, you know what I mean? That's I'm not a tuba player, you know?
I also think that we should create a distinction there, right? Because I think that to a certain extent, it's a little bit dangerous to connect what you're doing to who you are, because although what you're doing can be contributing value to the world or the people around you or to yourself, it doesn't necessarily need to be tied to who you are. And so, like, how do you create a distinction?
So I agree with you that there is a way to look at that and have a perspective on that that's unhealthy. Okay? You are not what you do, okay? But what you do is who you are, okay? So I'm not saying if you're a plumber, that's who you are, you're a plumber,
Okay.
okay? But if you have skills in the understanding of plumbing and you love that and you have identified opportunity in that and you use that skill to build your life, you're a plumber. There's no
Okay.
shame in that, right? But you don't have to be a plumber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm an accountant. Like
Yeah.
I am. I am an accountant. I hate it.
You're
but
Sloan, and
but
Sloan does accounting.
I'm Sloan and Sloan does accounting. But I am an accountant. You know what I mean?
I
Like
see what
that's
you mean.
like I am that. Like and I'm good at that, you know? But that's I don't get my I don't get my self-worth from the fact that I'm an accountant. That's the distinction that you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Precisely.
believe in getting your self-worth from what you do. Okay. So I do agree that who you are, your true identity is not what you do, but what you do is associated with that. That's a place to start, right? If you're deep in addiction and that's what you do, that's a problem.
So, how do you think that you found yourself in an area where you were exposed to potentially being breached by addiction?
Well, I was what they say is vulnerable to it because I was I lost because I didn't have self-worth. I didn't have self-esteem. I didn't care about me.
Mm.
And I didn't know who I was or what I was doing, and I had a very difficult time building uh, relationships and understanding community. Kids are mean. Like kids are
Yeah.
like not nice. I don't know. I don't know if you
Yeah.
if you know that, but like kids aren't nice. Okay,
Yeah.
like to each other. I mean, they're just not. Like they literally need to learn how to do that. And you're just not gonna teach it. It's just like you got like you know what I mean. Like it's not the way that it is.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that we don't love our children and they don't become nice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like like you see the bully when he's 40 years old. A lot of times he's not a bully anymore. He feels terrible about how he treated people when he
Yeah.
was 12. You know what I mean? But the fact is like kids just aren't nice to each other. They're constantly in competition, so on and so forth. So I 100% didn't understand the friend game.
Yeah.
Okay. And I went through periods of my life where I had a lot of friends. I went through periods of my life when I had no friends. And I was probably part of the problem. I just didn't get it, and like I didn't understand the secrets, like I'll keep your secret, but I won't keep his, and like all these different trust things, and like I just didn't.
Yeah.
It
So you
was
didn't understand the nuances
the
of friendship.
nuances and the dynamics of like
So that led to loneliness.
elementary school, junior high, high school relationships was
Yeah.
just really hard for me, bro. And so, no, it did. It led to loneliness. It led to depression. It led to just wanting to escape. And like, I'm a very emotional and passionate person. So my feelings, especially at that time, coming of age, like very powerful. And like, I don't want to feel this way.
Mm.
So if I do this, I'll feel differently.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that because I don't want to feel this way.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I relate to that, man, and I've seen firsthand, especially when I was younger, friends that were going through difficult circumstances at home, friends that were going through difficult circumstances inside. And you can see it like when you look into somebody's eyes, or at least I feel like I can see it when I look into someone's eyes. Like, yeah, like this person is in turmoil right now, and so having easy access to a quick escape looks um a lot better than having to deal with this um head on all the time, and a lot of the times people don't have the guidance that they need in order to deal with those situations, and vulnerability is very difficult. And so, like, I've seen people, like you said, that are vulnerable kind of take root in those things. um it's interesting because I think nowadays, like you had said earlier, a lot of these things are normalized, like, oh yeah, that guy just drinks a lot, or oh yeah, like that guy's just like um with women all the time, or this person is out here doing this, but people don't see like the effect that it really has on somebody inside, and like what it does to them, like mentally, and like what they're battling with. And um like people are very judgmental, you know
Absolutely.
and so it's like it becomes even more difficult because in those moments where you do want to escape, and the only way to escape is to be vulnerable first and admit, like, yeah, I have a problem and I need to change this problem.
Yeah, and again, that's like step one.
Yeah.
Like the next thing is like I want to be different. Like it's really about really diving into that identity.
Hmm.
Okay? And like I believe identity comes from Christ. Okay?
Yeah, I
Like I
agree.
believe that like it wasn't and this is just for me, okay? Just my own experience. Like it wasn't until I realized that like Jesus like died, like he was beaten beyond recognition. Beyond recognition. It says in Isaiah, you couldn't tell it was a man anymore. Right? Like beaten beyond recognition. Like I've been thrown in a cage with a bunch of unsavory types. Okay, like you know what I mean. Like it's like wow, like they beat him to death, but he wasn't dead yet. You know what I mean? Like, and then they hung him on a cross, like nails. Like crucifixion is terrible. He did that for me, like specifically.
Yeah, knowing already what you were going to do
I
against
mean,
him.
that's an added bonus, right? For you specifically, like he's like Ben,
Yeah,
you know,
for you.
and for each one of us,
Yeah.
whether we're whatever label you want to put, it doesn't matter. He did it for every single one of us, every label, every color, every creed,
So
every
what's the
class.
significance of that for you, like in this realm?
Well, I don't think Donald Trump would do that for me.
Mm.
I don't think Kamala Harris would do that for me.
Mm.
I don't think Prince William's going to do that for us.
Mm.
I don't think Putin would do that for us. Like Jesus said, greater love has no man than this, than he would die for us. So if he loves me that much that he's willing to go through that for me, that's where my value is. That's the only value that I have. I'm going to die one day. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Dust. What value do I have? I can't, whatever I have doesn't go with, like, like what, where is my value? My value, the only value I can find on this earth is the value that I mean to the Creator, the value that I have to Him. That no one, like, there's nobody else doing that for me. Like, I love my wife, I love my children, I love my parents and my brother. There's value in those relationships. They're all gone,
Yeah.
and none of them are gonna go on the cross for me, and I don't want them to.
Yeah.
Right? Um, but I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, where's
Yeah.
value? Like, it's like Like me being an accountant isn't valuable, you know?
And you think that helped you overcome?
That helped me learn how to love myself, right? Like I was sharing this with my daughter earlier today, you know. The Lord said, "Love your neighbor
As you love yourself?
as you love yourself." I think that last part is like it's totally overlooked. Everybody thinks that whole thing is about loving your neighbor. And it is to a certain degree, but it's more than that. It's loving your neighbor as you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, then you are not capable of loving your neighbor because you
Yeah.
don't really know how to love yourself. Well, how can you love yourself when I'm obnoxious and people don't like me and I always want to be right and like I don't have any friends and I'm a drug addict and I'm in prison and like you know what I mean? Like like what is there to love? I can't stop doing drugs, Ben. What is there to love?
Mm.
I fail at everything I try. What is there to love?
Mm.
I've been beaten and abused. What is there to love? I've been raped and thrown out in the trash. What is there to love?
Mm.
Right? Like, how do
Yeah.
I love me? Like, everyone who has one of these things that they're a slave to is actually a victim. They're actually hurt. They're hurt. Whether they're willing to admit it or not, that's what happened. They got hurt. They got hurt by somebody. They got hurt by something. They're not willing to face that and overcome it. They're not willing yet to love themselves enough to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be this anymore. I want something better. I want something more. And a lot, I've actually, you know, counseled a lot of people in this circumstance, and some of them, they don't want out. They want over.
Mm. Yeah.
They don't want out. They want over. I want it to be over. They don't. They don't have identity. They don't have vision. They don't have
Yeah.
I want to ring the Nasdaq bell, Ben. I have goals.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to ring the Nasdaq bell, I wouldn't build Centavos. If I wasn't building Centavos, I I would not be okay, bro. Like I need something to do. I need to create. I need to help people. I need to be involved. I need I'm passionate about
People.
people, loving God, loving people. Like I have that. I didn't have that when I was in addiction. I didn't have any of that. I wanted it to be over. So it's not enough to just be, hey, I want to stop. You also have to know what you want to be. What do you want to be when you grow up? How did I get there? It started with a journal, bro. I actually had a buddy of mine and we were locked up and I introduced him to Jesus and shared the gospel with him. He was super grateful. And he came to me one day. He's like, bro, I want to help you, man. Like, I can see that you're tortured, dude. And like, you've helped me a lot. And I'm so grateful to like be back in a relationship with God. I want to give back to you. And what I noticed is like, you're not okay alone, bro. Like, you don't like yourself. You don't know who you are. You know, you're super smart, but like, I can tell like you're not okay. You need to be able to go sit in that bunk over there for hours and be good. Like be good. Like I can go hang out with myself for hours, days. Like I'm good. I'm good because I love me and I'm good. You need that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? But I heard him. I didn't understand. Okay, great. Tell me how. Bro, just start hanging out with yourself, you know? Maybe write a journal. So what I do, I start writing a journal. I started writing, this is what happened today. This is what I did that I liked. This is what I did I didn't like. This is what I want. These are my goals. This is what like I hung out with me writing a journal. And then I hung out with God and asked him what he wanted me to do and who he wanted me to be. And I just spent time on me without drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever, just me. Who am I? Who am I? Not let me go find myself. You ain't gonna go find yourself out there. You're not out there. You're right here. And then how do I align my beliefs? What are my beliefs? What are my values? What are my attitudes? Right? Are those good attitudes? Do I like those attitudes? Do I respect women? Do I respect men? Do I love my enemies? Do I this? Do I that? I mean, what? I don't know who you want to be, but whoever it is, you need to figure that out. If you want to overcome, first, I have a problem. Second, who am I? Who do I want to be? Be that. Being is about being.
Yeah. One thing I also want to add in there is the people that you surround yourself with is extremely important because, like you mentioned, like your friend identified something in you that you weren't thinking about at that time, right? And even if you were thinking about it subconsciously, you didn't think about it like consciously. Like you didn't actually sit down and really think about, all right, who am I? Right? Do I love myself? Until that was kind of pointed out to you and then you started taking those steps. And, that identification led to action. I think that there's a lot of, uh, like I said earlier, different inputs, right? Whether it's on the cell phone, out, parties, wherever the case may be, um, where people that you may be surrounding yourself with aren't necessarily conducive to the life that you want to live or the life that you think that you deserve. Um, and so part of it is also changing who you surround yourself with because people will take you right back into the loop that you were in previously if you let them.
100%. In recovery, they talk about people, places, and things. You have to curate your life. You need to surround yourself with people that are going where you're going. Show me your friends, and I'll show you where you're going to be in 5 years. Show me the people that you spend the most time with, and I will show you where you will be in 5 years.
Yeah.
If you are not hanging out with people that are trying to be their best selves, then you're not going to be trying to be your best self. If you're hanging out with Astros fans, guess what you're going to become? An Astros fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's super important. We live in a world of social media, so like a lot of people are very lonely, man. Their relationships are skin deep,
Yeah.
right? We talked about friendship. I think friendship is extremely important. I don't know if that came across in that deal, but I think you need to be in a place where you don't need it. You give it, but you also give it in certain ways, right? Like never attach yourself to others. Attach yourself to God, your spouse, your kids, maybe a couple of best friends. But generally speaking, it's not rude. If you're not going where I'm going,
Yeah.
I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah. Sometimes it's time to shed that skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can be cordial and I can hang out with anybody. I can be friends with anybody. I don't have to. I'm at a place where I don't have to do what you're doing. When I was like 17, I had to do what you were doing. Like if you can't not do what other people are doing, if it's too enticing, then yeah, don't go. But I won't I won't subject myself to that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm not going into rooms where there's stuff that I don't want to participate in. If I end up in one, I will be nice and kind and like do the rounds, but I ain't going back.
Yeah.
You can give me the hotel key, but I ain't coming.
Yeah. I honestly think that one of the most important things too is, and this is part of understanding yourself, is understanding what you value. Because sometimes things can seem enticing in the moment, right? And if you understand your values and it doesn't align with your values, then you need to make an executive decision of, I can't do this because it doesn't align with my values. It doesn't matter how enticing it seems, right? How much it'll satisfy me in the moment because of who I am, right? And the fact that it doesn't align with my values.
We need to think long term.
Yeah.
Values are long term, right? I 100% agree. You need to identify yourself. Who are you? What are your beliefs? What are your values? What are your attitudes? Does this align? 5 minutes of euphoria is not worth a lifetime of pain.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I used to listen to this artist. I do from time to time, Kid Cudi,
Okay.
and he dealt with addiction like for years and years and years, and he like preaches against doing hard drugs. He's like, hey, listen, like it seems awesome in the moment, but it's really horrible for you because once you get a taste for it, you get stuck in this loop. You're like, ah, well, a little more. Ah, well, a little more. Let me try this one. Then all of a sudden, you're doing it like every other week. All of a sudden, you're doing it weekly. All of a sudden, you're doing it daily. And whenever I think that when it comes to addiction, addiction comes when you face a problem and the substitute you use is something external, people, a substance, you know, like alcohol, sex, drugs, overworking yourself, whatever it is, because everybody's addiction is different. And it's part of just running away from the actual issue. And it's becoming, I think, in this day and age, increasingly more difficult to go internal and be vulnerable and be open with like this is exactly what I'm dealing with. And I want to be better and I don't know how. But my boy over here is telling me like if I, you know, smoke this joint or if I, you know, go and have sex with this woman or if I, just have this drink that I'll feel okay. And I see on the TV that that's what people do and I hear in the music that that's what people do. And so it's like and this is in the Bible as well is if it's like the eyes are like the roots of the soul, right? And if in turn, if you allow darkness to go into your vision, if you let darkness to fill your ears, and that darkness is inside of you, then how great is that darkness? Right? And so it's like the inputs that you get from the people around you, the things that you're watching, the things that you're listening to, the things that you're doing, they can really propagate that darkness and make it bigger. Or or you can focus on the light, the vision, the values, and it can propagate that light inside of you. And you can really step into your purpose. Um,
I love what you just said there. And that leads us to wisdom of the week.
wisdom of the week.
Stop running away and start running towards something. The light. Figure
Absolutely.
out who you are and run towards the thing that is going to make you the best you can be. Live your best life. Stop running away.
You heard it here first, folks. Thank you again. Tune in next time. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that notification button. And we'll see you next time.